John and Amanda, good to see you. And really the burning question at this point, the question everybody in America wants to know, have either one of you had any cheese yet in Wisconsin?
Every single meal.
Yep, 3 times a day.
3 times a day. John Solomon, all right, keeping regular with the cheese. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about this debate coming up. Let's talk about this debate. What do you expect? What's the buzz without Trump? I mean, how much buzz is there? I mean, there's going to be news to report either way.
Listen, I think people are going to see, does Donald Trump draw a larger audience with his show than the debate or not? I think that'll be one statement from the American people. The other is who emerges from the pack. There's a pack of candidates. None has broken out to be the legitimate second challenger to Donald Trump. And I think tonight is their night. Everyone's going to be trying to jockey to be that person. I think you're going to see Ron DeSantis focus on the substance of his governorship. Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, really making an appeal to young people who often aren't attracted to the Republican Party, and the rest all scrapping to try to make a point, score a point, and try to say, hey, I'm the viable number 2 candidate behind Donald Trump.
Yeah, and look, nobody wants to watch a stage full of stiff suits and dresses. So my hope is that each one of them, they find their policy points and they articulate them well, but also that they just have fun. Because, you know, selfishly, I would like for Donald Trump to be on that stage tonight because it always brings an extra heat to the evening. But since he's not there, I think that these folks, you know, they're going to have to find ways to emerge and differentiate themselves from the others, but just to have fun, because the Republican Party has had this stiff persona for a very long time, and it's a beautiful stage of diversity, and Democrats love to talk about how they are the party of diversity. No. I mean, at time after time of the last 3 election cycles, you look at these debate stages, and it's Republicans who have that diversity, and it's also diversity of thought, and that's the most important aspect. So that's what's going to shine tonight, and again, I just hope they have fun.
That's a really good point about diversity. And, of course, Democrats love to talk about it, yet never really show it. John and Amanda, let me ask you a little bit about the makeup of the audience tonight. I mean, my understanding is it's invite only, obviously. Republican National Committee kind of doling it out along with their debate partners. It'll be interesting to see the audience's reaction, especially with Mike Pence on the debate stage, if you think about it, for the first time as a presidential candidate. And I wonder if the boos may cascade down on him. So that's one thing I'm going to be looking for. And of course, with Vivek Ramaswamy, he's going to get some incoming fire tonight from DeSantis and others because he's climbing in the polls.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think the dynamic between DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy is going to be the most interesting dynamic, because they're neck and neck behind Trump, but 30, 40, 50 points behind, depending on the poll. I think that's one thing. And then I'd keep an eye on not just Mike Pence, but I think Asa Hutchinson's another guy that isn't very popular in Trump world. So if there are some MAGA people in the audience, he's another guy that could get a couple of boo birds, I think.
Look, if we're ever going to revert back to Shakespearean times and see tomatoes thrown, I think tonight's debate is the time that's going to happen, because of folks like Mike Pence, unfortunately. I think that Ron DeSantis made a comment recently about how he's the only one running for president on that stage. Everyone else is just vying for VP. I'm pretty sure that the former VP is not vying to be VP again. So that's going to create a really interesting dynamic, and I think the crowd is going to be really vocal. I mean, we have seen this new dynamic in the Republican Party of no holds barred, and it's going to be interesting to see how the audience reacts, for sure.
Let me get a 10-second reaction out of each of you about this. What DeSantis and others need to do. Do you think they need to applaud Trump on the stage tonight or criticize him? What's your view? Or they have to pick and choose their spots? 10 seconds each here.
They're going to have to say, I embrace his policies, but I'm a better leader.
It never looks good to criticize someone behind their back. I think they should be nice.
Very nice. And that was a combined 10 seconds, which is extremely impressive. That you can only do that with two trained television professionals.
It's all that cheese.
It's almost like we're on air every day together.
All right. Stay right there, guys, in Wisconsin. Don't go anywhere. John, please have some more cheese. Amanda, feel free. We're going to be back in a moment talking about, well, time to drain the swamp. We'll talk about it in a moment. We talked about the debate earlier. John, I want to just show this Just the News headline clip this morning. You guys are always out with new news every day. This is talking about Hunter Biden struggling with the Burisma fallout, and his father, Joe Biden, moved to fire a prosecutor prohibiting probing the firm. And you talk about the parallel tracks here, and this is really crucial. I'd love to give this, 10 to 15 minutes, but give me kind of the basic gist of what's happening here and what dots need to be connected, John.
Well, ever since Donald Trump's impeachment in 2019, Joe Biden has had a singular story. Yeah, I fired the prosecutor. Yeah, he was investigating my son's company. But I did it only because I was carrying out U.S. policy. Bureaucrats recommended this, and I did it. What we've shown over the last 48 hours is that the State Department's internal documents actually told Joe Biden to do the opposite thing. They told him to give $1 billion in Ukraine, not withhold it, and that the prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, was actually doing a pretty good job reforming the anti-corruption efforts in Ukraine. So Joe Biden took the opposite track of what he was asking for. Another one of his statements from the 2019-2020 timeframe that has been disproven. The second part is when you look at when Joe Biden makes this change, when he actually changes the policy, not follows the policy, it comes at a time when Hunter Biden himself is under enormous pressure from Burisma to deal with the same prosecutor who's investigating Burisma Holdings for corruption. He's escalating. He's about to seize assets from Hunter Biden's boss. They don't like it, and he's making calls. He meets with one of Joe Biden's advisors. He's asked to call his father at one point, and it's in that moment where Hunter Biden's under all this pressure that Joe Biden just seems to flip a switch and say, oh, forget the policy they just told me to do. I'm going to go try to fire this guy and withhold the $1 billion. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and it's just such a fascinating connect the dots story. And of course, the dots need to continue to connect, and House Republicans are trying to do that. Amanda, I'm curious as it relates to the debate tonight, and not Hunter Biden so much, but Joe Biden. I wonder if there's going to be a raise the hands question. They love to do that on the debate, raise the hand. And here's the question that Brett Baer or Martha McCallum could ask, which is basically, do you support the impeachment or the impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden? And I'm curious to see if everybody will raise their hands. I'm also curious to see if a Donald Trump question, a raise the hands Donald Trump question comes up, whether or not you will pardon Donald Trump if you become president. I think those could make for some moments tonight, Amanda.
Oh,
yeah, I think that on the second question of pardoning President Trump, I think you would probably find a pretty magnanimous and unanimous reaction across the board. As far as impeaching Joe Biden, there are a couple different schools of thought surrounding that idea. The first one is that they should open an inquiry and reveal a lot of this information to the American people, make sure that there are cameras and eyeballs on all of this, because that's one of the best ways to make sure that you shed light and oxygen on it for the American people. But a lot of folks think that impeaching Joe Biden would not be good for Republicans politically. The other school of thought is that Democrats have been playing smash mouth politics for the last 10 years, and especially as you see Marxist ideas creep into their platform, and the only way to fight fire is with fire. And so as a result, if Republicans don't start playing the same dirty games, Democrats will just continue to trounce all over Republicans. So it'll be interesting to see which side of those two arguments, and maybe there's another, but those two sides, those folks on the stage land on.
Amanda Head, John Solomon, great to have you. Got to run. Thanks for being here from Wisconsin. Good luck tonight.